king comes to Israel, carried to Jerusalem year by year on marching feet. They come from every corner of the land, some by road and some by rail. Brightly dressed, they spill out in their thousands from lorry and train. The joyride is over. Here the foot slogging begins in earnest. This way to Beit Shemesh. There's paths to be trudged, roads to be tramped, and hills to be climbed. Arriving at the base camp, those who have packs on their backs come from the farming villages, from the kibbutzim and the moshavim. Many are new immigrants. Those others are city folks. But it's here at Beit Shemesh that they all get together and line up for the 4-day march, Israel's spring tradition and by now a truly international gathering. Canvas, poles, ropes, staves, rocks, anything that comes to hand goes into the making of the marcher's city. A city of canvas, the base camp for the 4 days of the march, 4 days which will be climaxed in the capital. The sun is up and it's time to go. As the sun rises above Beit Shemesh and its beams sweep into the valley, wave upon wave of marchers, shoulder to shoulder, are already sweeping out onto the road to the rhythm of the spring. This is Samson's country. In ancient times a city stood here, today marked by an ancient mound beside a new town. Every foot of land has its own place in history, and today it is marched over each spring by both young and old, as well as by visitors from abroad. Weary, footsore, and hot and hoarse from singing, the marchers approach the first rest camp. It's tough going, but it's great, and it's also good to rest a while. They'll lap up every drop of water in the place, just so long as it will quench a thirst. Unless, of course, you haven't got a thirst to be quenched. Precious feet have to be looked after. If blisters aren't taken care of, then nobody's going to get very far. You've got to tend your blisters, put cream on them, dress them, look after them. But above all, a good pair of boots is essential. Next to the nurse, the camp's most important person is the cobbler. He's also got his first aid post. After slaking their thirst, tending their feet, and having a rest, it's off again once more, and off again with a good deal of noise to spur them on. There go the old-timers. They claim that an old pair of feet will get you further than a young pair. Maybe they're right, because on the road, in the spring, you're as young as you feel. This This lady's straight from her cafe table and onto the road. Civilians, soldiers, young and old, the route takes them all through the low-lying towns near the coastal plain. They pass through Rishon LeZion and Rehovot with their orange groves, through Ramleh with its factories and ancient mosques. They march in close formation, head up, back straight. Everyone has his own number sewn to his trousers so that the onlooker can pick out the marcher and his unit. Why do they march? 4 days every year. What is it for? For the newcomers, it's the draw of an unfamiliar landscape. For others, it's the chance to stretch their legs, cramped all through the year behind an office desk. For some, it means a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, as in days gone by. And some, no doubt, are after the bronze medal. Whatever it is, it's something that brings more and more out on the march every year. Everyone joins in. As the spring flowers come out on the hills, so do the marchers, bringing the spring to Jerusalem. Some come from overseas, from as far away as Holland. There's an old man and his dog who turn out every year. Children by the wayside are waiting with gifts, with oranges, and with flowers for the heroes of the march. Today they stand and watch. Maybe later on, they will be marching too. A group from Switzerland, proudly carrying its flag. There are fat ones, thin ones, bemedaled ones, mustachioed ones. A girl from Holland, followed closely by an Englishman on his own. And of course the Israelis, with parasols, with dogs, all shapes and sizes, anything goes and they all go together. And they all live together. The camp is sprawled out across the valley, a tent city with its own center, its own suburbs, and its own exclusive neighborhoods. Everyone tries to outdo the others, each group showing how smart and ingenious they can be. This is the Navy's camp, complete with a diver's suit, the Navy's mascot. This is Nob Hill. The villas are luxurious, colorful, all modern conveniences, almost. This is the popular housing estate. Simple, comfortable, no pretensions. Just a bed, a roof, and a home for the time being. Even Tel Aviv's Dizengoff Street has been transplanted. But the simpler the dwelling, the gayer its inhabitants. It's been a good, hard day's marching, and now's the time to rest. But there's plenty to do while resting. Blisters first. And boots second for those few who have no blisters. The model housewife knows that a woman's work is never done. Washing and housekeeping, even if there's no ironing. Anybody marches on their stomach, and a well-filled one means a longer march. A couple of rocks, some brushwood, and your own private grill room. The bemedaled veterans spin yarns to make the youngsters gape, back when the 4-day march began, and maybe of another journey to Jerusalem, back in 1948 when the city was besieged. And anything that's been told or heard or done must be written home. There's plenty to write about. When the sun goes down, the rockets go up. There's a celebration before the final stage, the march up to the capital through the hills tomorrow morning. The youth brigades parade their flags, matching the fireworks with their changing colors. Written in fire, the motto of the march, "We shall ascend to Zion with joy." The Sea Cadets do their bit. Bringing the waves of the sea to the holy city, up in the hills and far from the shore. It is morning, dawn on the last day of the march, before the final stage. Dozens offer up the morning prayer, out in the open air, in the spring fields, standing between the flowers and the sky. And on the last lap, the long line of marchers snakes over the Judean hills towards the capital. Not far to go now, only 22 kilometers. Feet may drag a little, but the song never falters. It's heavy going now, for the way is steep. But the motto is, you're not the only one. It's companionship that keeps your chin up. Approaching Jerusalem, old Ein Karim with its new population of immigrants, the threshold of the holy city. The capital seems deserted, for the city has gone to meet the marchers. And as they march through the streets, these 20th century pilgrims get a rousing welcome. There have always been pilgrimages to Jerusalem, the eternal city. Even after the city was destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, even after it was razed by the Romans, there have been pilgrims to the holy city. The Byzantines built their churches and monasteries here. The Arabs their mosques. The Crusaders buried their martyrs here. Generation upon generation of Jews have been pilgrims to Jerusalem in sorrow and in joy. Jerusalem of the hills, Jerusalem of the flags, Jerusalem the marcher's goal, Jerusalem, here we come. In 1948, Jerusalem was restored as the nation's capital in modern Israel, and since then it has been the destination of this annual pilgrimage, the 4-day march, in the tradition of the past.